Okay, you want your hip dip filled, but you don't want to have a BBL. So I hear that a lot, and I understand why. Because patients don't want to have just a huge butt. And I don't want that either. I don't like that either. But when you fill the hip dip, or rather when I fill the hip dip, with the fat that we get from liposuction, we're transferring that fat to fill in the hip dip. You have to realize one thing, and that is the hip dip is not an isolated problem. Let me show you what I mean. So this is a patient. She has a reasonably deep hip dip here that she wants filled. I haven't done anything here. I have filled her other side, which was even deeper. But now I want to show you, if you look here, here is her hip dip. This is what we want to have filled. But you can't just simply put some fat here or some filler or something and then you're like, oh, okay, everything is filled. Because it doesn't really work that way. The hip dip is not just a little isolated area that needs fat to fill it out. It actually goes all the way back. So you can see it and feel it, and it goes right till about here. So I do have to put fat into the butt to fill in the hip dip to get a really nice result. That doesn't mean that you have to have a huge butt. That just means that in order for that hip dip to be completely filled and to be supported so it doesn't just kind of melt away, you have to also put fat in the butt. So that's what I'm going to do right now. She doesn't really want to be huge. She just wants to have a better shape, which is what we're focusing on. And we're going to start with filling the hip dip, but we're going to backfill it all the way to the so that all this fat here supports the hip dip and helps maintain it. And then from here, we're going to blend or feather, whatever you want to kind of think of it, just kind of blend in the fat where we put it. It will give you more volume to your butt, but that's not the principal effect of it. Principally, it'll fill your hip dip and maintain your hip dip so you don't lose your hip dip. And it will add a slight volume to your butt, but it's not something that's going to, look terrible or huge or too big. I don't like that look either. I've never liked that look. So even back in, 5 years ago when these butts were getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, I didn't jump on that train. I never liked it. People would criticize me. They're like, oh, your butts are too small. They're too natural. That's the look that I liked. I always said to patients, find the surgeon whose look you like. I like a natural look. I like the OG look. I just follow the OG line. But to fill a hip dip and to get the OG line, you got to put a little bit into the butt as well. Let me get to work here. Okay, I'm finished filling her hip dips. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but I filled them as much as I could, as much as the tissue has allowed me to. Now we're getting to the point where it's getting quite firm, so I'm really not able to get her hip out any further. Now, that's okay because she has a naturally very athletic build. So I think it'll look good on her, it'll kind of match. But those really severe indentations, we've got them much better. She was never going to be a kind of voluptuous hippie person. That's not possible for her based on how deep the hip dip is and how her tissue is a little bit tighter. But there's always some limits as to what that OG line will look like. Somebody can come down, they have a smaller waist and then they have a larger hip and they can get sort of more voluptuous OG line. Filling the hip dips requires a little bit of fat in the surrounding areas to get the very best results.